Hey, how's it going? So I wanted to make a video to follow up on the last one I made that was talking about it was it was talking about the people that use the weight loss drugs that appear to be having a severely adverse effect upon them, as if it really looks like it's mimicking other starvation related type activities or afflictions. And then also at the same time I was talking about a little bit looks maxing, which I'm still sort of stunned by. And I guess I shouldn't be, because I did say, I think, or something close to this, that it appears to be like exactly the same sort of thing that women have gone through forever, where you have like expectations of you, and there used to be not simple but prescribed ways for people to express themselves as sexual people, or I guess I'll just go with that. And certain things were normal and acceptable, and then other things were like in the closet, on the down low, behind closed doors, like whatever euphemism you want to come up with, but it's like, don't talk about it. And then also everybody was doing it, I guess. So, and then I wouldn't have thought I wouldn't have thought that this was related, but here it pops up in my mind. So, it was the mansion parties. I don't know why that popped into my mind, but I do feel like that is a sort of system that you can sort of get entrapped in. And the you in that equation could be in entertainment, or just any kind of high profile field, or at least one where people operate at like the upper echelons of finance and so then power. And one is very connected to like a lot of things that you wouldn't have even considered before knowing about this guy and the kind of access and involvement that he was into. So to be in that world, I guess, as a non-participant, I'll call that person, and you're just sort of there against your will, more or less. Like maybe you agreed to something, but once you arrived, the something that you thought you agreed to is non-existent, and from all indications, what you do encounter is terrible and stays with you for like the rest of your life if you survive it, to be plain. So but it is a world that wants to shape and change people to its bidding, to its will. And, that's, oh boy, is that a pathology. But so weight loss stuff, like, it was already hard for a lot of people, and there are so many reasons that trigger it, that cause it to happen, and then so many things that no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, like take diet, you just can't seem to win. So there's that, and then like I'm sort of compiling my thoughts in the previous couple of days, and I come across this video, and the title is "It's in Everything," and it's showing American products, and it's basically the cat's out of the bag about how before this administration came along, there was a lot of resistance to regulations of any industry, and that's really kind of scary when it comes to agriculture that's going to be food for us, or livestock. And for food, like, I don't want corners to be cut on that. I want it to be as healthy as it can be. Everyone should, because we all have to eat it, right? But somehow priorities have gotten really sort of messed up around that. And, you know, making it healthful is not necessarily the priority. Making it profitable is. And so something is going to lose in that equation. And that would be the people that consume the product, with the corner cut off of it. So it's like the system is telling you you have to be one way, and then some people can. They're fine. They have no problem to all appearances, because you don't know. Like, you can look at someone like me and go, daddy issues or something like that, and actually not be far off, probably, because, I don't know, I guess we just sort of run down the same little narrow alleys in life, a lot of us. But so, you know, for whatever reason, you know, someone that's overweight might be that way. But that doesn't mean that someone that's slim doesn't have some kind of issue, that it's just the polar opposite of, like, my experience. So I guess I can't imagine what's the problem. But not that I wish it on anyone. That just tends to be how life shapes us, is that we encounter problems and then we have to, like, find our way out of it without losing something or other, like our mind, or you can imagine. So the self-esteem issue, and then that, if it's not quite right, some things matter a lot to how the self-esteem is measured to the person. Like, and that is, I gotta say, that's probably the furthest away from what you want to be doing if you want to, like, get right with yourself and feel good about yourself. And so maybe that's oversimplifying those things, but whatever we might feel about it, or within our own particular family group, and then there's, like, outside of the family, and that can manifest in a lot of ways. Like, it could cause you to have attention from like, attention that you probably don't want and shouldn't have, but it happens regardless. Maybe that's what made me think of the other situation, because it seems like no matter the location, certain people can spot people that would be vulnerable to certain types of grooming, basically. So appearances can be deceiving, I guess, is the point of all of that. But there is just a lot of pressure on people, and I don't think the gender really matters at all about this kind of thing, where if you don't look right, you're gonna get input, like probably unwanted a lot of times. I know that's been my experience, but you're gonna get a lot of feedback that, you maybe did not sign up for that, but that is also something that we seem programmed to do, is to offer unsolicited opinions / advice. So it is just a lot of emotions, a lot of probably like misunderstood or not well understood emotions, and along with that, maybe not having the tools or experience or help to know how to deal with all of these incoming input and societal sort of pressure to conform to something that not everyone can do it. Like, you can diet all you want or whatever and change your appearance to what is considered like the acceptable norm here in USA 2026. And I think that's a leftover from previous generations. Like, I feel like we're breaking through that, but it's come at a point where it's really like messed with our minds over all of the generations. And so I think just, we may have like have had like a better like read on ourselves before we get swept up into all of these pressures and things. And it's almost like when you're in like junior high school and everybody is like so critical of each other, and then everyone is having sort of biological things happening that are unexpected, or they're unexpected. Even if you know that they're coming, you don't know what that's going to feel like before it happens to you, and then you look weird, and then like, yeah, stuff starts happening to you and making you look very strange, and you're just in this period of like, you're just not all the way formed. But anyway, it's just similar to that. It's not the same thing. Hold on. But I think what that is kind of like those unresolved things that I was talking about, sort of looking for resolution, and like not maybe sort of like looking for love in not the best places, and what that'll get you is not the best experience. But you gotta learn. How else you gonna learn? Seriously, like, experience kind of, people can tell you things, but that only goes so far. Experience really sets the experience in stone. But things can happen to weaken our sort of anchors to ourselves, and being grounded in ourselves and what's good about ourselves and valuable about ourselves, that it might not appear in the volume of accepted things that are good and you should get points for. Like, maybe it's just something that you're good at that makes you happy, and then whoever you share it with, like in your close group, small circle, thinks it's great, like thinks like it's something you can do that's fantastic. And if you need that, sometimes that is, I think it can be more than enough, because I mean, I just feel like the smaller things are, the less input that you might have to deal with. Keep it small and manageable. And it doesn't have to be small to be manageable. I'm just, you know, flowing. So, but when we sort of are unsure and weakened, the pressures can begin to feel like it. You know, it's just easier if I just yield to this right now, because it's just, I would rather not. You know, and I mean, that's kind of vague, but I guess some people will know exactly what I mean. What I mean. So, when I was talking in the last video about what is, I guess, making some people have such striking reactions, is that here was my initial association. I saw people and I was like, wow, they look like they have like anorexia or something like that. And then the thing is sometimes those people may have actually had that prior to using this medication. And it acts like an addiction, which is why they look so gaunt, and you know, their attention is urgently focused on not eating stuff, for sure, something else. And I guess what the something else is that this was a description I read, or I didn't read it. I saw a video of a doctor talking about it, but they felt like it was or it wasn't even that they felt like, he explained it in clinical terms. And he said that it wasn't that the drug was addictive, it was that the feeling of not being hungry and hearing the food noise was. And so I guess if you have that sort of dormant component or not so dormant component where you're, you know, susceptible to something like an anorexia type thing, then, well, like now I'm losing the thread, but it's kind of like, it seems to me that it would trigger it. Like, I don't know. I truly, I don't know. It's just what I feel like is the case. And that too is something like, it's working in your head somewhere that where you feel that way, that you have to assert control over your environment that way. And I feel like the looks maxing is another version of that, because both are kind of very appearance based, kind of, and that is a lot of what other people are thinking and saying about you, or caring about those things. And I guess you have to like have some moderation. Like, it's fine to it's fine to have people say stuff. It's good to have input sometimes. You know, sometimes you want to hear these things, because, you know, if you're just like off on your own in some kind of extreme, it's another way to like sort of cut yourself loose from anchors, you know, like to unground yourself further. And it gets out of control, and I worry about the people with the weight loss thing, because I mean, it looks like they're close to being like like passing out from weakness. It's not good. And I feel like pain is there. They got really way out of control, and so the other thing, the looks maxing, is like the male version, I guess, and it has a lot of similarities to what women do, where, you know, you get treatments, or not treatments, but procedures done on like your nose or your brow or your chin or whatever, and then treatments like fillers and such. And so, and you know, if you're losing the hair, you get something done to replace it or get it to regrow. And that's it is to do with like your appearance, and so, you know, that to me automatically is saying, does your appearance appeal to other people? Like, is it going to be like good enough? And in other cases, I would be like, try to get away from that. Try to worry about what you think more. But in the case of like your hair loss, or even for women, like if you have breast cancer and you have to have things removed, that I'm sure screws with your head. I mean, that was, anyway, I'm sure it messes with your head. And so, making yourself look a standard means you think that the way you looked before you did yourself up didn't meet the standard. And man, I can't help but feel like when you care so much you want to alter your appearance, that's like a detrimental thing to care about, I feel like. But also, here's the thing I was going to say. Also, if it makes you feel better to get some alteration to your appearance done, to something that bothered you repaired, you know, to make you be able to feel okay about yourself, then that is good, you know. I mean, who doesn't want that? But the problem with those kind of things is people get addicted to the procedures and they go overboard, and sometimes you can't, it's possible to go so far you can't come back, or you can't get someone to continue to keep giving you procedures, so you go to less reputable places that have less reputable means. And like really famous people have had that, I think, and gotten some weird stuff put into their bodies that was, it was like a bad experience for all, because the public that I assumed they were trying to impress got an impression all right, but not the one they were going for, I don't think. And so, like, I'm just saying, these things can get out of control because we sort of have lost our true self in there somewhere. Like somehow the outer stuff has gotten more important, but it hasn't. It's just that you are sort of just under this constant bombardment of, you know, things that if you are not as grounded as you should be, these things are going to get you thinking of yourself, thinking less of yourself, and making comparisons with yourself and these other people. And so that is demoralizing, but that is also us doing it to ourselves, like accepting this input from outside and not giving, like just throwing away what our own is, you know. It's like, here's the thing, this is like a straight up true thing. You can do things, and also it's good to like improve your diet and, you know, your physical condition. That's very good. That's what we ideally should all do with the bodies. But sometimes you can only go so far. Like, you can, like, for some people, no amount of looks maxing is going to significantly change their appearance. And that's where you get back to that thing where okay, I mean, this is me looking at this from the outside, and I don't know if they perceive this the same way, because I saw in the documentary some people that I was like, well, okay, that's, you look a lot better, you know, but you didn't like change like your looks. But the thing is when you do go through those things, self-improvements that are like the ones I mentioned, like diet and exercise and some other form of, like, I don't know, meditation helps a lot of things for a lot of people. But there's a lot of other disciplines you can do for self-improvement that don't require, you know, treatments and surgeries and things. And I think that's a better confidence builder than anything at all. Because it can be shaken, and you might have to work to repair it and get it back in place, but that kind of thing, like once you know you can bring yourself to that height of confidence and self-assurance, it's going to be harder, it's not going to be as hard to get there again, and it's not going to like slide or need to be refilled or whatever happens with those treatments. I think we've all seen, like, listen, it just as a woman that has breasts, the stories I've heard about women adding on to theirs or taking some off, and the stuff that's ended up inside their bodies in that place, just like, I can't. So, but that's just me. But I feel like you end up in this like hall of mirrors place in your head about like all these things, and I just feel like, because this has not been my experience, but from what I've seen and like around me in my life, and just lots of other experience recorded in media, it looks like a unpleasant place to be, like concerned about those things all of the time. So I guess I just want to say, like, going to extremes is very likely part of your experience that you're meant to be having, but you also can, like, it doesn't have to be terrible. You can also make the experience be one of, like, coming out of it and improving and upgrading in that way, and still be like a total victory, you know. Like, that is not simple. Like, if you end up in the extremes, like, you're gonna be sort of swimming upstream to get back to like level and normal and grounded again. But that all can be very valuable experience. Like I said, that could be why you are having the experience in the first place. And who knows what having gone through it is going to mean in the future. Like, how will it benefit you? Probably, I can't help but feel like the more effort you put into it, the more hopefully prizes and goodies you get out of it in the long run. Anyway, so I just didn't want to seem like I was just stacking all of these things about these people going through this thing and not like explaining why I was doing it. So that's what this video was. Thank you and good night.